Uh, Terror from Beyond. Welcome to Happy Suffer. Bad
Oh,
tagline for this fucking movie.
Terror from Beyond. Okay.
This is episode 370 of Happy Suffer. Um, Pastor Gates.
Oh, I'm um the guy who's wearing Jacob's wig from Twilight.
It could be almost anybody in this movie. There's some bad hair in this movie. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about 2023's Killer Witches from Outer Space, which was in my watch list, and I remembered why as soon as I started it, because this is the same director, Tsunami, and Ghoster's Phantom Patrol. And I
Yeah.
came across the title, and I was like, I'm going to watch this later. And then I was looking up lists for movies that take place on Halloween, and this popped up on one of them, and I was like, what's this? Why is it on my watch list? Whatever, let's do this. uh, Not great. It's the
No.
best of the three, but
Yeah. Well, okay, so to be fair, I still haven't seen Tsunamis. But like I'm actually madder at this movie than Ghosters Patrol or whatever because I feel like that it had potential with the like alien witch
mhm.
creatures and they just like did it so poorly. Um
I was just shocked there was a physical effect, like a practical
yes,
effect in this movie, and like that
I will
these
say
weird pumpkin head looking
still
things are kind of cool looking.
yeah, they're very cool. However, so like still a lot of weird CG backgrounds and stuff for no reason, but there is a larger part of this movie that takes place like in the real world, just like at someone's house or like out in the like country, wherever the hell they're supposed to be. And then we do have the practical effects with the witches, and sometimes the spiders are practical. But then they do this thing that I really, really, really hate, where they take the practical puppets of the witches and then they CG like them making expressions, which like really bothers me. And
Yeah,
then the other,
especially when like not done well.
no, it's terrible. I
Like
hate
I
it.
think about it in
And
terms of like animal movies, where I'm like, if it's CGI is done like really well, it doesn't bother me as much. But then you get like some where I'm like, this is horrendous looking.
yeah. And then the other thing that seems to be kind of like a trend with their movies is that the movie like doesn't really make sense.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of people who say things, sorry, who say things that like have nothing to do with the conversation or do things that have nothing to do with the conversation. And then it's like very obvious. Like, I very much understand that almost any movie or TV show, they shoot scenes out of order. Like, I very much
yeah.
understand that. But they've done it where then they've edited together and it's like plainly clear that that's what's happening. You know what I mean?
Well, and like, okay, so I will say, starting out, I don't know what the fuck happened in this movie because we were making dinner while it was playing. And so periodically I would just look up and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But, like, it's another one of those ones where it's like almost all of the dialogue is just one person in shot delivering lines, and then it cuts to the other person delivering a reply, to where no one is actively, like, acting against each other. They're just saying shit. And so,
Right, yeah.
like, if you do that, you have to be, like, rigorous in your structure of the movie because it will get
Right.
away from you in editing. And that's what I feel like his movies do, is where, like, I feel like he probably has a loose plot idea with some like dialogue, and then gets into editing. Is just like, I don't know, fuck it, just slap it together. And that's like mostly what it like this, and especially the fucking Ghostbusters one felt like.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
Tsunami, like, it's just because like most of that movie took place with like 4 people trapped in this like tiny shed house that they were all like actively acting against each other, but I can't fully remember. It's been 6 years or whatever since I watched that.
Sure. I know I'll get around to it eventually.
Well, we
I
still got
actually did
3 more of his movies, so
ugh, I actually did not even like realize this was the same thing until there's like a scene where the little girl like calls the Navy SEALs or something for some reason to like report the alien witches.
they just
And
answer
there's
the
like
phone.
yeah, and there's like the thing on the TV as to like things that people have like reported, and one of the things at the bottom was
Great.
tsunamis, and I was like, oh,
I
haha.
saw his name in like the opening credits or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's right. And
Yeah.
then, if that didn't clear it up for me, the 10 minutes of credits, or with just baffling shit happening in them, really just hammered it home.
I, it is my personal opinion that the worst thing that happens in this movie is the credits at the
The
end.
animation of
I've,
the people's faces.
they're just like Snapchat filters
I
and AI Snapchat filters, and I was like, what in the fuck is going on
I
here?
had to specifically stop it and have Caitlin come in and just watch like
It's
at
so
least 2 of their
weird.
faces turn into like weird, like like you said, like Snapchat filters of like what Snapchat thinks like an anime person would look like, I guess.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
weird. I
like
was like, this is
so
upsetting.
strange. Yeah, it's bad.
And this movie's only like 82 minutes, and like something like 10 of it was credits.
Yeah, I was immediately irate because the opening of the movie is just the credits, and I was like, "You
Well,
dirty dog."
I got a movie for you then, because I got to finish it, but I started this movie called Arbor Day that TerraVision put out. I think it's on Tubi already, but it was like a lost movie where I think the guy made it and it just never really got released, and they somehow he's like got a hold of them and they released it as like a holiday slasher movie or whatever, but it's like a comedy.
Hmm.
But I was like watching it for like 15, I feel like maybe 20 minutes of shit happening, and then the credits started. And I was like,
Oh,
wait, how fucking far am I into this movie? I was like, a lot of shit has happened. And it took fucking forever to get to the opening credits. So,
I'm okay with it.
yeah, now it's like mid-movie credits.
My preferred method of delivering credits to me is like showing the movie like a TV show where they like start the show and then there's like the credits just like on the screen or whatever if you have to do that. But also you don't have to. You can just wait till the end. No one's gonna
Yeah,
look
I
at no one's
think
I'm so sorry, but nobody's looking at the credits, you know?
I think sometimes, especially with bigger movies, that is a sort of rights thing. Not like rights thing, but it's like there's like certain actors who have it in their contracts and shit that just like Tom Cruise's name has to be at the beginning of the movie or like whatever.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't know how that like other than just I don't know padding time a little bit. Some of the like the lower budget stuff we do. I'm
Yeah.
but I don't know. I've never that is not a complaint I've ever had, unless it's one of those ones where like the opening credits are like 9 minutes of like not movie happening under them.
Right. Well, um
Well, I'm assuming based on your 1 star, you thought this was good.
no, I tried to give it some grace just because I thought weird enough to say like I kind of liked the idea of like space witches. Um and I liked the puppets, but like you said, they're essentially like they look like Pumpkinhead, but like they're gray and kind of crusty, and they have like a popped out eyeball and kind of like a talon type thing. And so I was like, number one, going into this movie, wasn't expecting like a realistic anything. So we got that, and we do get a little bit of like spider puppetry. Um, the CG, like I said, was like really bad, and they did that thing where like whole rooms were just like CG for some reason.
At
Then
one
like
point, it started to rain, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!"
yeah, and like I liked the idea behind it, but where it really just like really grated on me was like once they just like started introducing all the characters, and then there was like whole ass characters that just did not add anything or need to be in the movie at all. That like I think that they kind of threw in to be funny and it didn't work. And like really what it comes down to for me is that like this movie is not cohesive at all. And like a lot of the movies that we do that are like lower budget, it's really hit or miss if they're cohesive or not, but like that's like something in movies that I just really cannot overlook because it's kind of like to me relating to me that you did not really care about editing at all, which like
Well, I'm mostly with you on that. Like, I feel like there's some things where it's like, like a shot on video, like 90s movie, I give a lot more grace to because I'm like, well, you're editing this on like a VHS tape and shit.
right.
Or like whatever. You're doing the best with what you can. Or like your idea was just like there's a movie called Slaughter Day. I think that's the one it is that like Visual Vengeance put out, where the movie is essentially like 50 minutes, and you could tell the entire idea was just like this one dude is getting chased by like demons, and so like the plot is pretty bare bones, but kind of like you could tell shit is sort of like slapped together. Where like some scene like the continuity of like scenes when the guy's like running away from these creatures is like yeah, obviously just like sometimes you'll see a shot where you're like, I'm pretty sure that was taken from like earlier in the movie or whatever, and like I
Right.
give that kind of stuff more grace. And like with this, like it's weird because it's like this one, it's not good. Like I gave it a 1.5. Like it's not something I would necessarily recommend, but I also don't think it's terrible. Where like you said, like I think the premise is interesting and just kind of not like I think this premise with like a better director or somebody with like slightly more money could have been pretty cool. Like I think of it in terms of like the aesthetic of say like Ernest Scared Stupid, but with like these weird alien witch creatures. I would be so on board for.
Yeah.
But my biggest issue is like it's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
But like I want to give it some like give him some grace because it's like he clearly like is doing like I don't like he's not doing the Amityville route with these movies or like kind of where like Mark Pelodia has ended up where he started out like making really cool like 80s practical effects movies to now he's just pumping out whatever CGI
Yeah.
bullshit he can to throw on Tubi. Like this guy has made like 6 movies in I don't know 20 years or whatever, and like they're not great, but like he's clearly not like phoning it in. I think he's doing what he can with his capabilities, and like I don't want to be mean about that, but also the three movies we've watched are like not great. This, like I said though,
No.
this is the better of them. This one shows like some like real I don't know gung ho ness in like what he was trying to do compared to Ghoster's Phantom Patrol, where like the entire thing was probably shot in his garage on like a CGI screen. This one at least has like some real world shit going on in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, you just need to do better editing for a movie that came out like 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm curious. I forgot. I don't
Um,
know if he edits them or not, or if he has someone do it. But like, I don't know. It's a thing we'll never know because no one is writing like in
feels to me like
in depth
he
shit about
just
these. But
oh yeah, yeah.
oh yeah,
Feels
he's
to
the
me like he
editor.
just had oh, okay, I was gonna say it was either him or like somebody did it for him. His friend like did him a solid and like edited it or whatever. Because there's
So
like
it would make sense because I feel like I don't remember us having that complaint specifically with Ghoster's Phantom Patrol, but this is the only
no.
movie he's edited.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if it's just he's just not a good editor, and if we just noticed it because this is the only one he's edited himself.
Yeah, I think for me it's like sure this is his first time editing, so like yeah, that's fine. Did you not have anybody watch it through and be like, "Hi, how is this little one specific girl in every single scene of the movie?"
I honestly,
Like that doesn't make any sense.
I just wonder if, like we said, if it's just a thing where he just like filmed a bunch of stuff with like the people he had and then tried to piece it together
Yeah, oh
afterwards
definitely. Yeah.
without like, but also like, who knows, this entire thing could have been like extremely detailed and planned out for all we know. Like, it's just how it came out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm getting
I
too
don't know.
soft at my old age.
I think you are.
Like,
Well, okay, so spoiler alert for not well, it's not a spoiler alert, but for what I watched later, it's like relevant to what we're talking about. We went to see the new Conjuring movie, and it wasn't good. Like, obviously, if you've listened to any of these, like, you know, like my feelings on The Conjuring is like there's a handful of them that I think are really actually decent. Most of them are not good. The Conjuring specific movies go down a notch every single time because they decided for some reason that they were going to focus on Ed and Lorraine's relationship and home life over why people are actually here to watch the movies, which is like spooky hauntings. So it's like every single movie, it gets more and more about these fake Ed and Lorraine Warren characters and
these
less about what's
characters that
actually going on.
people do not like in real life. And
Yes,
like,
and that's why, especially because like you know, like more and more it's come out like what kind of people they actually were and like shady stuff that's happened or whatever. And I feel like for the most part, like public opinion has turned against them since these movies have been coming out. And that's why it's confusing to me that they've pivoted to being like, oh yeah, people are coming to see their
uh, I'm
romance.
guessing it's because
And
like Patrick Wilson is like bafflingly popular, despite being the blandest white man I've ever seen in my life.
I do like him and stuff. However, he doesn't really do anything in the movies. And
Everything I've
like,
ever seen him
anyways,
in, he's just like there, where he's like not good and he's not bad. He's just like passable, like middle-aged white dude they need for the movie.
yeah, it's like confusing to me. Anyways, I don't want to get too deep into what was wrong with The Conjuring. However, my point was that like, you know, there's like 15 minutes in the movie where you're like watching him play ping pong in his garage or whatever. So it was extremely boring. But like I went with my husband, I went with his aunt, because you know, I didn't know that she hadn't seen any of the Conjuring movies, which
That's
was like a
so
misstep.
funny.
And they just were like going on and on and on about like how bad the movie was, and I was like, it wasn't good by any means, but it was a cinematic movie. Like the editing was good. There actually were some like spooky things. Obviously, everything for them is like CG. It's like a mixture of like
Sure.
CG and practical. There were some stuff that I found genuinely creepy and that I liked, but they just were like going on and on about how bad it was. Like obviously, I did not give it a good review, but in my mind, I'm like I feel like I just do
Yeah.
not anymore have the same gauge for what I think is terrible because like I would rewatch it even though it was bad. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
it's like Kit always says, we're like, if like the worst movie you've ever seen was played in like an AMC or a Regal, that like you've
Yeah.
lived like a privileged movie viewing life, right? I just like
Yeah,
anytime
exactly.
someone's just like, oh man, I just saw like, The Meg, and that's the worst thing I've ever seen. I was like, oh, I could list you 40 movies I watched in the last like 3 years that would like break your fucking spirit if that's the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah. So I just feel like obviously the gauge is a little bit different at this point. But yeah, so that's why I feel like I don't know. I can't even imagine somebody who only watches like mainstream movies or whatever watches something like this and like what they think, can't find anything redeeming about it. All I'm saying is that like I feel like this would have worked better for me with more editing and because I thought the premise was really good in not like the whole premise, but like the premise was like interesting and they had something going with like the witch puppets. I feel like it was like blundered a little bit better versus a movie like Ghosters where like the whole thing was pretty stupid. Do you know
It
what I'm saying?
yeah, it
Like
it
I expected
makes
more from it.
it makes me curious because I think from what I haven't seen of his, two of the movies are like dinosaur movies, and I'm curious if just a movie where dinosaurs are attacking people is like, I feel like that would be the real test of like if you're a good director or not, is if you fuck up just dinosaurs attacking people to the point where we're just like, this makes no sense. I feel like
Yeah.
then I would be like, you are a extremely bad director.
Yeah, and like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
I yeah.
Yeah, so we could talk about the plot, even though I'm gonna have no idea what you're talking about.
It's okay because it's fine, actually. I watched it intently and like I said, it's like not very cohesive. So,
Okay. Real quick, I like that his bio on Letterboxd is no bio available. Add one on TMDB, the
TMDB.
movie database.
Oh,
That's what Letterboxd pulls all of its stuff from, is the movie database, not whatever IMDb stands for, Internet Movie Database.
oh,
I don't know why there's two of
interesting.
them, but because there was like movies that I was like, why the fuck is this not on Letterboxd? And I went to like look how to like add one, and I was like, I'm not signing up for another fucking thing to add Erotic Nights to the Living Dead or whatever the fuck I was trying to add at the point.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay. So as we said, this movie starts with the credits zipping through space. There's like electricity and stuff going on. Just like kind of looks like a screensaver, You're just it's fine. Then we get this text that says that it is 1978, and we're seeing like CG space and whatnot under a voiceover that says they come from the stars and beyond. On the full moon rise, they plant their spider seeds to do their dirty deeds. I was like, no, thank you. It does make sense with what happens in the movie. Unleashing havoc on innocent kids, just so happens they spin their webs every Hallows Eve. I call them space invaders. Kids call them killer witches.
Yep.
Um, so I think one of the other things that confuses me about this movie is
Wait,
that
kids don't know what the fuck Space Invaders is. Oh wait, no, it's the other way around.
no,
Never mind. Sorry. I was like,
but
wait.
also kids don't know what like
Every kid knows what
trying
killer
to
witches are.
this is trying to make me believe that there is like a entity called killer witches from outer space that kids just know about, even though they don't. And the thing that confuses me about this is that every person in this movie refers to these things as different things. Like this voiceover we find out is from this man called Professor M, who seems like he just lives out in the wilderness and is like not actually a professor of anything. And the kids go and like confer with him, and he refers to them as aliens. They are literally actually from space. We see them, but the kids don't seem to equate that with them being aliens and just call them killer witches. And then like the priest and the priest's quote unquote posse, as they refer to it, all call them demons. And I'm like, is it like, that's weird to me. And there's also like more than one priest too, which like that's not necessary. Anyway,
I will say kids don't know what killer witches from outer space are because there's no videos about them on YouTube.
that's what I'm saying.
It's
So
just
like,
the fucking weirdest clips from this movie. Somebody posted like just the fucking production company logo at the beginning for 10 seconds.
great. Love that. Okay, so yeah, there's CGI of like space and a spacecraft. I thought the spacecraft, like this is all going on in the background as the guy's talking. I thought the spacecraft was really cool. It looks like a star, like, you know, like
Yeah, I mean, like,
witchy.
as far as the CGI in this movie goes, like, I've seen worse.
Yeah, oh,
And
definitely.
just kind of like, as another one where I'm like, man, like, these practical witches look so much better that it makes the CGI just feel worse in comparison. And it's like a bummer where, like, once I saw that the witches were practical, it just made me be like, God, man, why? Why is all the rest of this shit CGI?
Right. That's kind of like that's kind of like what I was saying, where like, because the witches are pretty much like the first thing that we see. And so I kind of feel like it got my hopes up a little bit. So then I was like let down more when the rest of the movie happens
What
to me.
if
Do you know? So,
this entire movie was the witches and spiders were practical, but the people were CGI? What if they all just look like
Great.
the Snapchat filters from the end of the movie?
I kind of maybe think that would have been very bold.
It would
That would
have been
like,
interesting, but I would have been like 1 star. Absolutely not.
yeah, no.
I cannot watch
it
these
really,
people for. Or
I'm not gonna lie, it really freaked me out when I saw that.
put those filters on the witches. They're exactly the same,
witches.
but they just have those big eyes.
I'm here for it.
All right,
Okay,
we're done
so
with this movie, right?
pretty much. Okay, so yeah, I said the spacecraft is cool. It looks like a star. They are from the spacecraft zapping Earth with like green lightning and stuff, and there's like CGI cows and stuff out there. Uh, no real cows were harmed in the making.
Couldn't
of this.
even find a real
In fact,
cow.
no, in fact, all we see is these CG cows in the very beginning, and then there's never cows again, so don't even worry. There's a cowboy and his son is like watching, and his friends pull up, and the dad's like, "You guys going out there and get them cows all wrangled up, all right? Because it's storming." They think that the lightning is from the storm. And so the kid goes out there with his friends. This is where I'm saying, like, one of them gets out of the truck and he's wearing Jacob's wig from Twilight. And they go into the field, and there's all these like craters in the ground, and the boys are like, "Oh, what's this about?" And then there's like these crusty ass spiders that come up out of the ground. Again, confusing, because when we very first see the spider, it's like sticking its little like spindly legs. Like the spiders, have like kind of like a face hugger quality where the
Yeah, a little
legs have
bit.
more joints than they should, and then it like spits something out into the air after them, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is actually going to be like a decent movie. And then once the spider comes out of the ground, it's just CG, a CG spider running in place as the background blurs behind it. And like the kids are all running away, screaming, and they get kind of like chased and like picked off sort of by these spiders. They all end up living, though, because now it is Halloween present day. And there's a girl looking through a telescope, and she sees what she refers to as a death comet. They talk about this death comet a few times in the movie, and it literally amounts to nothing. So I'm confused as to like why they're talking about this constantly.
You gotta talk about something.
I guess, but it's like the comet never does anything. She doesn't like discover the witches because she's looking into the comet. She's just like, death comet, which is a comet that's shaped like a human skull, and like that's as far as it goes. So I'm like, okay, great. She's listening to a news report about how they're talking about a hurricane is being called for because there's all this green lightning, but like it's very much like not really even hurricane weather either. Um, so now as adults, the boys from before are checking out the meteors out in the field, and the spiders come out again. They're like, "Oh shit, not again!" And it's like getting the farmers and whatnot. Again, we for some reason spend a lot of time with these two characters, Zane and George, even though they kind of don't do anything in terms of the story. Um, Zane is doing this like terrible drawing of his girlfriend, and his friend George is like making fun of him. The principal comes out and basically asks them to help with the Hallows Eve event at the school. It's a party because they're like, you can tell that they're cool because they're wearing leather jackets, and the guy has ripped up pants.
Oh
so,
yeah, that's the sign of the coolest person you'll ever meet.
Exactly. Um, for a while, I was calling the guy Jacob's Wig, but then I realized that I wasn't actually sure if Professor M was Jacob's Wig or this other guy, because he's still got long hair, even though he's like older now. Because like that happened in the 70s, and this is like quote unquote now. And then there's like another dude who's like walking around with a shotgun a lot, and I was like, actually can't tell who's Jacob's Wig now. So now I called them Cowboy and Professor M. So Cowboy, previously maybe known as Jacob's Wig, had escaped from the spiders again, and he goes to tell the priest at the church there that the aliens are back, and we pan over to the priest, and he's got also long hair, but it's like kind of scraggly, and he's got an eye patch on because he got all scratched up and fucked up from the spiders before. And this is when we realize that like he was one of the boys that got attacked in the beginning. Now there's some
Do you think you would have given this movie 5 stars if every character, including the witches, had one of those wigs on?
Yeah.
Spiders as well, just dragging that long ass fucking wig.
Yeah. And I actually was like kind of reflecting on it, and I was like, would I have liked this movie more if it leaned more like all the way into being goofy? It's like on this line of like having potential to be a good serious movie, and then them wanting to make jokes and the jokes don't work. So I'm like, maybe if it was all goofy, it would have like I don't know. It's just like,
yeah, I think about that a lot with some of these movies where like I think the ones that fail the most for me specifically are something like this, where it doesn't seem like they realize what they're making per se.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, we've talked about how like there are things where it's like you can stumble yourself into making a bad movie that is fun because it's like bad, but like
Right.
there's also the opposite where like somebody makes a bad movie thinking they're making something very specifically, like they think they're making a really good movie, and like it just flops the whole other way, where like I think you need to have some sort of middle ground, which is something that like, which is what I think like why Manborg works so well, is I don't think like Steven knew what he was making when he was making that movie and leaned into it. And
Right.
that's why I think it works so well. And it's just like, I don't know. So like some of these people make these movies where I'm just like, you think you're making like a straight up masterpiece, and like you're making Ghosters Phantom Patrol.
Right. It's so funny that you brought that up, because like in the beginning of when we first started talking, I had a thought of like, I would like to have seen him make this movie.
Yeah.
Like I think it could have turned out so fun, but here we are.
I think about like that anytime we watch, especially something like when we did like Ghosters Phantom Patrol, where I'm like he made an entire movie in his parents' garage, and like, yes, you very much can tell that like all of the backgrounds are like CGI, but like it doesn't take you out of the movie at all. And it's like, it's because of like the craft he put into it, where I feel like a lot of the ones kind of like this, where it's like, yes, they're probably doing it out of necessity, but they're not putting in the like care it needs to make it look good. They're just like, I don't know, it's fine, throw it in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm back to being mean again.
All right, good. Welcome back. I was worried about you for a
Yeah.
little bit there. Okay, so now there's a bunch of guys in hazmat suits out inspecting the field where like the spiders came from, and the priest is out there being like, "Get out, get out, get off my land," that kind of thing. And they're just like, "We're the government. You can't tell us what to do. We're
Or,
not telling you what's going
or
on."
the HOA.
Literally, your weeds are too tall. So, the two my other problem is that there's like way too many quote unquote main characters.
Yes.
So Cameron is okay. So Zane and George, who are the first people that we meet outside of this like posse of dudes who were like experienced the witches being attacking them before or whatever. Zane is the boyfriend of this girl named Alexa. Alexa is the one that was looking at the death comet. And her little brother Cameron is now out in the field with his best friend Gretchen. So they're like little kids. I don't know. They're not like little kids. They're like young preteens or whatever. So that's some of them, right? So they've snuck out to the field. Their mom like works overnight shifts or something, so they're basically like left in the wind. And they go out at night to check out like what's going on with the field. They see the hazmat guys, they see the priest arguing with them or whatever. They immediately go to talk to Professor M, who, as I said, is just like some old guy who like lives in the field and is like always just like sitting in front of a fire, like not doing anything. And say they go and they're just like, "Hey, something weird's happening." And Professor M's just like, "You kids ever seen a 500-pound spider?" And they're like, "Huh?"
Who hasn't?
And like, right? And so then he starts talking about how there's like alien witches about afoot or whatever. And then he says, "You know what Halloween is?" And they're like, yes, we know what Halloween is. And he's like, "They come on Halloween." He basically just like tells them the story of like the witches, which is that they want kids' blood. Duh. Like, who doesn't? And it's basically like Cameron and Gretchen's destiny to save the world from these like witches. And the kids are just like, "All right,
Yeah, we'll do it.
okay, that's good." At night, the witches come out of the fields, and the kids are like using night vision binoculars to like look around, and they see the witches or whatever. And the witches are just kind of like doing magic and whatnot. Gretchen is crunching hard on some chips, and one of the witches hears her and like zooms over and basically like ensnares Cameron kind of with her like witchy powers, which are kind of essentially like Doctor Strange's powers, where he's like doing runes in the air and shit, but like it's green and it's kind of like techie. So like the witches and the spiders, like I said, kind of have this weird like facehugger xenomorph predator pumpkin head thing going on. It's like kind of like a mix of like all of these things, but still somehow seems to be like a little unique at least. And so like she's doing some kind of like witch powers or whatever. They also make that like clicking sound that like
Yeah.
that we all love. They've got like long fingers. And so the witch is like ensnared Cameron, but then it starts to rain and it kind of like burns the witch and she gets scared and runs away. She gets hurt.
What coward.
Yeah, right. So, okay. The priest, I think that maybe Gretchen like ran to the church and was like, "The witch got Cameron." And so the priest goes and like brings Cameron back home, but he's like comatose. This is where Gretchen calls the Air Force and it's just like, "Hey, this entire Air Force scene is also CG. Like they show like a truck rumbling up to this like hidden base and that's all CG. And then inside there's like the Air Force guy answering the phone and like everything behind him is also CG.
The one conspiracy theory I truly believe is that all of the military is CG.
Yeah, I would. That seems.
It's my version of Flat Earth.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so she's just like, "Hi, I wanted to call and report
You
killer
could
witches."
do this, by the way. You could just call up the army and say, "Hey, there's a pumpkin head in my yard."
Yeah, can you help? And so the guy's just like, "Okay, thanks." And he like hangs up and then he's like, "Anybody got killer witches?" And then killer witches shows up on the screen
Yeah,
along with
some real
like,
cabin in the woods bullshit.
yeah, I don't even know. I can't even remember. One of them was like merman, and then at the bottom is tsunamis. There was like a handful of things that they were like supposed to be on the lookout for. They didn't do a very good job though, because they never show
I'm
up. They're just kind of like, all right,
knocking this
yeah.
down to like a star rating. This is down to half star now.
Oh shit. Okay, so Cameron is completely non-responsive. Like he won't talk to his mom, he won't talk to his sister or whatever. And they go through this like long back and forth where they end up calling this man called the Exorciser, who is just like this guy from Brooklyn. And this character, I feel 100% they thought they were adding for comic relief, and there's absolutely no reason this man needs to be in this movie. He's not funny. He doesn't add anything to the movie at all. He just like is there for like quote unquote to be funny and like add time
Oh, that's
to the
exactly
movie, I
what it
think.
is.
And it's like the wrong choice. Like I don't know why you don't show more of the witches.
I would
Like
bet anything. The witch costumes probably were not super well made and probably were breaking apart. But also, I would bet
right.
anything this is just like a guy the director knows that he thinks is funny that he puts in all of his movies.
Yeah. Well, guess what? He's not. So they do this like whole stupid back and forth like phone call, which I didn't even write down because it's stupid. Um, the next day, question mark, Alexa is like walking to school with her friends and they see a huge spider on the telephone pole, and one of the friends thinks that it is a trash bag because people love to hang trash bags on telephone
That's
poles.
true. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
I do that all the
I was
time.
like I was like, are they like full of trash or
Can,
like
can
what are we
you
talking about
can
here?
you imagine you are like walking down the street with Chris and you see like this giant spider or whatever, and Chris is like, "No, it's a trash bag. People like doing that." You would be like, "I'm moving out."
Yeah, it is. I'm getting a divorce. Like what? And they say it so nonchalantly, and like I'm not really sure if it was supposed to be taken as a joke or not. But
I
anyways,
don't think so.
um, we do get alien spider vision a little bit as the alien as the non-trash bag spiders jump down and like chase the girls and like attack them and stuff. Alexa runs into the church, um, where she finds the father and is like, "There's a huge spider in the field. There's huge spiders in the fields." And he says, "You saw them?" Uh,
Yeah, that's why I said it.
that this is what I'm talking about when I say like I cannot stand dialogue like this in movies. Like I just can't stand it. Like there's huge spiders in the fields. You saw them? No. How the fuck do you think that I know that there's spiders in the fields if I didn't see them?
There was
Anyways,
something I watched recently that like did something like that aggravated me to no end. Where it was like, it was more like every single thing that happened, somebody had to like comment on it in the next scene. And I was like, "Oh my god, I just saw it. I don't need this fucking
yeah,
reiterated to me. Please stop." And it was
yeah,
like every fucking time.
I hate it. Um, this is one again. The father keeps referring to the spiders as demons, which I don't like. We get it. I don't know. It's like he got attacked by the spiders when he was little, so he like turned to Jesus, I guess. And like we get it. Like he's religious. Like I don't understand. I don't know. Whatever. And basically he's just like, don't worry. The only thing that you have to do is just have faith in the Lord. Like he's saying this to the girl, and I was like, what is that going to do against giant spiders? What are you talking about, sir? Cowboy busts in with the gun, is just like, you can count on me. And I was like, how did he know they were there having this conversation? It's very strange. Anyways, all of a sudden, just Gretchen is back at Professor M talking about, we saw the witches. Also, they almost got Cameron. So like, and it's also confusing because like the way that he responds to her, it's like almost as if they didn't have this conversation before, because she's like, oh, they're witches, and he said, witches, what happened to the aliens? And I was like, but you called them alien witches yourself, so like what are you talking about?
This was a scene from before they had that campfire talk.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like this is one of the scenes with Professor M are one of the examples of they clearly did not think about the continuity when they shot stuff out of order and then inserted it into the movie. And there's another one later that's literally even worse, but this is like the first instance of it. So this is why I'm also confused, because so she's out there talking to him. The immediate next scene, and we just saw the father, the cowboy, and Alexa in the church together. The immediate next scene is now the father, the cowboy, and Gretchen. And I was like, how the fuck did Gretchen get with them? They're just like standing in front of a field, like where they had seen the aliens the previous night or whatever. And there's like this whole drawn out thing with now a sheriff that comes and it's just like, oh, what's going on over here? And then they just like reiterate everything that's happened in the movie. And the sheriff is like, if this is really happening, we're gonna have to quarantine this whole area off, and like just like all of this like meaningless fucking conversation. So the sheriff, finally goes out and is like, I'm gonna go see what's going on here. And bafflingly, I don't know who these people are. I assumed that they were maybe the government people. She finds these like skeletal remains, like strung up in spider cobwebs, like up in a tree, but like one of the skeletal remains, his eyeball is like rolling around in its head and is like shivering like it's cold. And I was like, what is this?
I have zero recollection of this.
It was very crazy. And then of course she like screams and she's like, I ain't never seen nothing like that before. Me neither, Sheriff, actually, to be fair. I also feel like one of them was wearing like some kind of weird hat. I don't know. Maybe that was... Anyways. Okay, so the exorciser now is driving to like Cameron's house or whatever and sees that there's like some like workmen out in the street and there's a down power line. And he comes up to it and is basically just like... and they're like, it was termites. And he's like, oh, no, I don't think that was termites. Well, no, he doesn't. He's the one that has, like, the Boston accent, New York accent or whatever, which close. I'm not going to attempt right now. But he's basically just like, oh, no, this wasn't termites. This was demons. And then he starts taking, like, samples. There's, like, this is another part that really, really disappoints me, is that, like, he's like, oh, I'm going to take a specimen of this, like, goo that's on this power thing. And they CGI green slime. You literally can just make slime with like glue, and you're telling me you had to CGI some slime?
I mean, do you think he's going to like fuck up his own basement, pouring slime all over the place?
Well, this was out in the back alley, so yeah. I do. I do think you're gonna...
alley's where he lives.
Well, I need you to be more dedicated and put some slime out there. They sell GAC still. You could have used anything, and you CGI'd some fucking green slime.
Milko
That's
Davis
really what is
keeping fucking GAC in business.
Yeah, that's what really took this movie down for me. I was like, you can't even use real goo. And then when they like zoom in, okay, I will say this: when they zoom in on the exorciser getting the goo, it's like actual goo, but it's like white. So I'm assuming it was like petroleum jelly or something, which you know he has. But I was like, what? Why is it clear now? Anyways, and the guys who are like, so it's like exterminators that are like looking at the polls or whatever, and so he's like, this isn't termites, it's a demon. And then the dudes are just like, it's termites. What are we supposed to do? And I was like, why are you asking this random man? You don't work for him. He's just some random dude that walked up to you and is like scraping goop off this log. Like, what do you mean? And so then he's basically just like, yeah. He's like, what you gotta do is get right with God. Do the testes, mesties, whatever the fuck thing that he does. And I just was like, what is going on here? Like, what does this have to do with aliens? Like, I'm very confused. That's why I think that, yeah, I sort of feel like they were making multiple different movies here that they just like shoved it. And I want to also say this exorciser guy is wearing like a stole around his neck, like a Catholic priest would. Well, I mean, he's doing an quote unquote exorcism, so sure, but like it very clearly looks like a brand new stole that they literally unwrapped like right before and just like threw it on, because you can see like where it was like folded in the package and stuff, and I was just like, this is continuing to slide down.
I just keep thinking about how, like, if this movie again was along the lines of something like Ernest Scared Stupid, where it's these kids dealing with this threat and like the parents don't believe them,
yeah,
and they just have to like save the day, like I think it would be way more enjoyable, even with like the issues we've said. But like throwing in like 10 adults for no reason, they're all shitty.
Well, and I would argue like the letterbox description of this movie says like 3 kids have to blah blah blah. I would argue that the kids are not even doing anything. Like, they're not the main characters of this movie.
Called the Navy.
I mean, she did. I did say, like, Gretchen is weirdly in almost every single shot, and, like, I don't know if they did that to be, like, a joke, but it didn't work.
I think she's someone's kid that was just on set. They were just like, let's throw her in there.
Yeah, probably. She also has weirdly long fingernails for, like, someone her age, which is like something weird that I noticed. Anyway,
I guess that's a good thing I was not paying attention.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he tells them to get right with God, shows them how to do the Holy Mary cross your whatever. And I was like, again, I just don't understand what this has to do with anything. Now we're back at Alexa's house, and she's showing Zane, who was her boyfriend, who was like the shitty cool guy from the beginning. She's showing him the death comet. And she's like, it looks like a human skull, but they call it the Great Pumpkin. And he's just like, hee, that's silly. Is it going to hit Earth? And she's just like, not this time, maybe eventually. And he gets all freaked out, and he's just like, oh, I hate this kind of stuff. Why can't you be into normal stuff?
It would be so funny if that was the end of the movie. Not this time, but maybe some other time.
Yep, the end. And so he's like, why can't you be into normal stuff? It gives me the heebie-majeebies. And so basically, he's like, I'm going to go to the school dance. Like, I want you to come with me. And she's like, I can't. I have to babysit Cameron. Also, remember, like, he's comatose from seeing something in the field. So I can't go anywhere. And he's just like, oh, shucks. So he leaves to go help set up the dance. The exorciser finally shows up and talks to Cameron. Just like normal, he's just like, hey, man, what's the haps? What'd you see out there? And so he kind of like talks to him, and Cameron's just like normal now. And I was like, okay. Meanwhile, they're showing like the principal and everybody like setting up for this Halloween dance. And the sheriff goes to the party and basically tells the principal, like, you need to shut down this party. There's something weird happening. Like I don't know why she waited until the party already started to go and be like, hey, don't have this party. And the principal's like, well, like, these kids are gonna kill me if I cancel the party. Like, I'm not gonna do that or whatever. It's like fucking weird. So now the father comes to see Cameron, and the exorciser comes down the stairs and is just like, my work's done here. Peace out. And just like leaves. And I was like, what the fuck?
My bill will be in the mail. So he goes,
like, literally. So he leaves. The father goes upstairs to talk to Cameron about how, like, hey, listen, I know that you saw this like scary thing, but you're not crazy. Like, this happened to me when I was little, and this, like, my eye patch isn't from like being wounded in war or something like that. He's like, it happened from the witches, and they took one of my eyeballs. And he like flips up his eye patch, and his eye is just like a scar underneath there.
I
But
would be
like
like, that story does
somehow
not make me feel better.
no. And like somehow the witches, because they took his eyeball, are able to like see out of his eye wound, see Earth out of his eye wound or something. So that's why he wears an eye patch. And I was like, okay. I like the idea. Again, I like the idea of that, but like it's not executed very well. Because I was like, how could they see out of his eye that's missing
I mean,
from the hole?
like,
Like there's not even a hole. It's just like
that's
lumpy skin under
the type of
there.
thing you have to give, like, some sort of explanation or let us see that in play.
Yeah, no, it's like literally just this like one scene that the witches then in their spaceships are like seeing Cameron because he's like lifted up the eye patch and then he puts the eye patch down and they can't see anymore. And I was like, okay, great. And then they never address it again. So that's why I'm like, there's a good movie here somewhere if they just could not find it. And so yeah, so he's basically just like, oh yeah, the witches, they like took my eye and like all that stuff. Like, don't worry though, like we're gonna get him or whatever. And then the biggest twist of all, the father is actually Cameron's real dad. Wow.
Did not see that coming,
Um,
especially because I don't know
Me
if I saw
neither.
that scene and I did not know that happened.
Yep. That's the big twist.
All right, back
And it
back to
makes
four
sense because
stars.
yeah, he's like Cameron. I guess he's just like estranged from the family because he just can't deal with, I don't know, whatever. Um, I'm confused because they show a scene of Professor M maybe doing magic also and showing an eyeball. I really don't know what's going on with this scene because it's not explained at all and they never come back to it. So like I don't really know what's going on with him. Um Randomly also Gretchen is running across the street in the nighttime and the exorciser almost hits her with his car and she just like screams and he gets out and he's like, what are you doing? Get my car, I'll give you a ride home. He doesn't do that though. Um Now Professor M calls the cowboy and tells him to get his posse together because something's a coming. That's all he does is just like makes a cell phone call.
Seems to be what most of
Um,
the people in this movie are doing.
yeah. The sheriff is still at the dance. She tells Zane and George that they're going to help contact all the, like, one by one, call all the kids at the dance's parents to tell them to come take them home because it's not safe.
That should
What?
take no time
Also,
at all.
literally, also, why are we seeing this? What the? They don't do it. The kids are not safe. Like, why? 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 That's what I want to know.
Uh,
I like no. I know the real answer is that time.
yeah.
I understand that, but from a storytelling standpoint, no.
I feel like
Okay, so
everything in this movie makes perfect sense when you get to the credits and it is 10 minutes long and
yeah,
the
yeah,
most
yeah, yeah.
random bullshit to stretch it out.
Yes. Okay, so now the quote-unquote posse is assembled, which is comprised of all adults plus Gretchen for some reason.
Well,
Like
she's the ringleader.
the the excel whatever the exercisor, and I'm saying it like that because they spell it like that with a Z at the end. It's not exerciser, it's exercisor. And he was gonna drive her home, but instead he drove to like where all these other grown men are assembled, and like Gretchen's there also. And I
Normal.
was like, what? She she called the exterminator earlier that was like, it's termites, what are we supposed to do? And so he's there. And because they're spiders, right? And so basically they all surmise that the spiders are on the way to the school dance. Because why wouldn't they be?
Those spiders
Um,
deserve to go to a school dance too.
I agree. Like, don't try and rob them of the experience of a Halloween dance at
God, I
school.
wish this
Like,
movie
are you
ended with
kidding?
just like one of the spiders with their arms like around the waist of like some teenager like doing like a prom photo.
I love that. Meanwhile, back at Cameron's house, the power goes out. Cameron is normal again for whatever reason. And Cameron, Alexa, and the mom are at the house, and there's like spiders coming, and there's like this whole scene of them. Also, somehow Gretchen is also there at the house with them, even though she's literally also outside the school, like with the dudes. So that's why I'm like, what the fuck's going on here?
she's
They basically
everywhere.
just like she is. They basically just get chased around the house by spiders. The father dad ends up coming and is like trying to help them or whatever. Cameron remembers that when he was being attacked by the witch out in the field, she got hurt when it started raining, and so he tells them, "Oh my gosh, water kills them." So the
Do you
spider,
think there is a priest somewhere in the world at some point whose name was Dad, so he was Father Dad?
yes, definitely. That's who this is based off of. True story. Um, I feel like there's gotta be.
Yeah, I say
There's
there
just no
has to
way.
be.
I'm definitely not Googling it because I'm scared.
Just nothing but dad content in your feed from now on.
Yeah, yeah, no, thank you. Okay, so everybody goes into the kitchen and fills up pots of water, and the spider just like stands still in the middle of the floor while they're doing this. And then they dump all the water on the spider, and it erupts into flames. Um, the posse arrives at the school, like having followed the spiders there or whatever, and the exterminator is just talking about how he wishes his cat was there, which honestly is a mood.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
I get it. Um, they are trying to. Okay, then we get this scene that again is like pretty cool of the witch, one of the witches like beaming down into the. They've like barricaded the doors or whatever, but the witch just like beams into the school from the ship, and it's just like click clacking around, looking around, and the posse is like fighting the spiders. Somehow everybody like Cameron, Alex, like all of the people who were at the house, their house a minute ago, are now all at the school with the rest of the posse. So they're basically like looking for a bunch of holy water but also because they're like, oh, the posse's fighting the spiders, and even though all Cameron said was like, oh, we need the water will kill them. Father Dad is like, we need holy water,
Oh
and I
my
was
god,
like,
I forgot that like how
no, we
many times
don't.
during like the climax of this movie, somebody's like, "I got water," and someone's like, "I got something better, holy water." I got something better, fire water. I was like,
Fire
Jesus
water. Yeah.
Christ.
I'm confused. Like, yeah, Father Dad is just like, we need holy water, and I was like, no, you don't. But sure, make this more difficult than it needs to be. So then they're all running around. There's like jugs that say holy water written in fucking Sharpie on it or whatever. They're like down there like looking for water, and the exorciser's there, and Cameron's basically just like, okay, here, bless this water so we can fight or whatever. Again, Cameron knows it doesn't have to be holy water, and that's why I'm confused with this like whole demon alien like the weird thing that's going on here. And the exorciser's like basically like, oh, I can't be blessing that water actually because I got kicked out of the church. And Cameron's like, that's okay. Have a little faith. And I was like, is this what's going on?
I mean,
here?
this is what Tsunami was. Tsunami, like, it plays out like this weird, insect attack movie that then turns really fucking religious and then turns into a zombie movie for some reason. And like, I remember watching it, like when we watched it, just being like, is this Christian propaganda? What the fuck is going on? And then like I have to assume this guy is maybe not like over, like really like crazy religious, but it's clearly like it like
something. Yeah.
Impacts what he makes.
Well, I don't recall there being anything like that in the Ghosters thing.
I don't either, but I don't remember anything from that movie at this point.
Like, I feel like that would have, I don't know, I don't remember, but I found it very, very weird in this movie.
Yeah, that was how, like, when we did Tsunami, I was just like, what the fuck's going on? Why is this all of a sudden, like, it was about, like, the cop has lost her faith, and all this shit going on is, like, helping her, like, get closer to God or some shit, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, I'm confused about it. But then he like blesses the water anyways because he had faith, I guess. I don't know. Also, I'm like, what did you do to get kicked out of the church? Like, that needs to be more of a question here. And nobody questions that at all. They're just like, oh, it's fine.
Sequel.
Don't worry about it. I'm like, I feel like we should worry about it maybe. This is when we find out, like, the witch busts in, just, like, throws the kids and all the chairs, like, away from the door and walks in. And this is where we see that she's got, like, spider web shooters in her palms.
Oh, yeah,
which is
Spider-Man.
sick as hell. And she's like spider webbing up all the people, wrapping them up or whatever. Um, this is like the scene that was like very egregious to me in the editing where the principal gets spider webbed and then like hung up in the ceiling and Zane and George are just like, haha, guess we won't have detention anymore. Yeah, guess there's no school tomorrow. And then in a couple scenes, the window that the principal is like hanging from gets blown out, and I guess he gets exploded or whatever. And then it again shows that scene where Zane's like, "Huh, guess we don't have detention anymore." And I was like, "What?" Because like Zane and George were separated by this point, but then they just like put that same scene in, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck?
makes sense to me.
Cameron is at the school now, like we said, and he steals a water gun that was previously taken from George at like the very beginning of the movie, and so he's got holy water in there now, I guess, and he starts spraying the witch. Zane is like, I got an idea, and like this is like something to me in movies that's so funny where like they're obviously in somewhat of a real scene here because there's a real fire alarm, and instead of showing him pull the fire alarm, he just like lays his hand over it and then it like cuts away. And I was like, that to me is like such a funny detail because it's like obviously it was a real fire.
Yeah, clearly someone was like do not actually pull this.
Yeah. So he just like literally lays his palm over it and then like turns to the camera and like grins like the fucking cable guy, and then it just like cuts away. And I was like, okay. And then the sprinklers go off, so it's like witch is getting like sprinklered, whatever. George is like, and now all of a sudden George and Zane are both hitting the witch with like water balloons that were left by these skeleton guys earlier in the movie. And this is the scene you were talking about where like I wrote the exerciser, but it might have been like one of the cowboy guys that's just like I have fire water, and he like takes a sip from his fucking flask and then like breathes out
he
fire.
He looked kind of like he was a
janitor
to me, but I also do not remember any character in this movie at this point.
I don't know. Yeah, so like he's like breathing fire out of his mouth, but kind of for no reason because like the witches are susceptible to water and not fire, so I'm not really sure why number one he's bringing out fire, and also like what actually like fire water is not like actually like fire, whatever, I don't know, it was like very weird. This scene, this is like I could not at this point, everything really started to like take a step back from reality for me, because as they're all like hitting this thing with water, Father Dad just like holds up a cross, but like he's like, it's like such a weird thing because like the witches are pretty tall, like we said, they're like kind of pumpkin headish size, so they're like the size of an adult, right? And so like he's holding up a cross, but for some reason the scene is shot from like down on the floor up, so he's like holding the cross to the camera, and then you can see like the skylight behind him, even though the witch like beams up through the skylight. So I was like, why are they showing this angle? It was like so fucking weird.
Clearly somebody was just like, this would be a cool shot, and they were like, fine, do it.
Yeah, it wasn't, by the way. And so like the witch basically beams up through the ceiling back onto the ship, and basically they're like, oh yay, we're safe. But for some reason the witch looks out into space, and there's like a huge burning cross in space that hits the ship, and then the ship explodes. And I was like, what? Where did that come from? What's going on here? I do not understand at all. And then it pans back to the school, and the school's on fire also for some reason. And everyone's just like, woohoo, we did it! We saved the planet, or whatever. Cameron and Gretchen basically go to tell... This is what's weird. This is... I mean, the whole movie is weird.
I was like, I want to hear this.
This specific transition is really weird to me, and why I feel like there was definitely a different movie that they were making at some point, because it switches over to Cameron and Gretchen telling as if this entire movie was was being presented to us as them telling Professor M everything that happened. because it switches over to them and now it's like winter and they're wearing like hats, like knit hats, and basically acting as if they had just told him this story, and then they're like, yeah, and he's like, wow, what a great story. And they're like, yeah, but you and nobody is ever going to believe us because we just don't have any proof that it happened. And so it's like, but you were talking to Professor M throughout the whole movie, telling him the story. So why would you then go back and tell him the whole story again, as if he had never, like, as if he didn't know what was going on? Like, he was the one that made the phone call and said, like, the witches are coming, get the boys together. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's fucking weird. Cameron is basically just like, yeah, we're just kids. Who's gonna believe us? And Gretchen's like, oh, here, I found this, and it was like a witch's claw. And Professor M is just like, wow, you guys saved the planet. You should go tell everybody. LOL. And I said LOL.
No, he said it too.
In my note. Because, like, why would they go tell everybody? He's basically just like, I think you guys probably scared them off for a little bit, but they'll be back. They'll be back. And then he starts laughing, like, it, like, pans away and his laugh is just, like, echoing. So I'm like, remember that scene earlier where he was, like, doing magic randomly for, like, 1 second? I'm like, was there a version of this movie where he was, like, actually a witch, or he was, like, a conduit for the witches, or something, because he, like, knew all about it? And that was, like, one movie. Another movie is just, like, the kids telling him everything that happened. Like, I'm just, like, it's just so scrambled. I don't know.
My theory is that he, kind of like James Cameron with Avatar, has a 7-movie plan for this that will slowly reveal itself as we watch all of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
right,
CGI
fair.
looks pretty much on par with Avatar to me. So.
With Avatar, I would say, yeah. So then it goes to the end credits, which, as we already talked about, to me was the weirdest thing in this movie somehow, where
no, you're
it's
right.
like
you're
showing
not wrong.
where it's like showing the characters from the movie with like their name and who they played, and then it just like it's like them, their actual still from the movie, and then it like morphs into this weird like AI animated filter over top of their faces, and like the first girl looks insanely like anime. But then some of the other ones just look kind of like illustrated, so they're using like different filters, but I'm also like, why?
Yeah, I have no idea what this was about. Other
For
than
what
I have
purpose?
to just assume he was like, this looks cool, I'm gonna do this.
Bro, it doesn't, I promise you.
It's very
then we
strange.
get also there's like 10 minutes of movie left, right? So we watch like 3 minutes of more credits. Then there's a in the middle credit scene where that exterminator, basically we're watching like his YouTube channel where he's talking about the spiders.
Joe Rogan Experience logo with just his face on it.
Oh, I didn't even notice
that's
that.
the one thing I noticed.
But that's the one thing from this movie that I noticed, by the way.
It's almost like, no, why?
Yeah, so it's basically just like him having a YouTube channel. He even says like smash that like button, subscribe, whatever. The only thing that good comes out of it is that we do see his cat Salem, who is just a cute black cat. So like, hell yeah. Then there's more credits, and then there's another after credit scene where now we see up in space there's like a shit ton of the witches' spacecrafts, like 10 of them, and then there's also the Skull Comet, and then it just like cuts away to the witches like going like whatever.
Yeah, that's all you need.
And I was like, okay, why did it come back to the comet? Like what?
Made sense to me.
Okay, great.
No, I did. But did Ghosters Phantom Patrol have some shit like this too, where there was like 9 post-credit things? I can't remember.
I don't remember either, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it. Rewatch the whole movie just to see the credits.
Go for it.
That's bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good, I would say.
Not,
In case you didn't understand that from the last hour and a half or whatever, it wasn't good. So I don't recommend it,
not a
unfortunately.
strong start for us covering movies that take place on Halloween.
No, I would say not.
I feel like there was a news story that I was like, I should remember that, and then I do not now. So,
Perfect.
surprise.
I think after 300 something episodes, I don't think people come to us for news anymore.
I feel like someone died that I was gonna say, but I don't know. I'm not.
Jane Goodall died.
Well, that's yes, but it was.
Not prevalent
I was.
to.
I feel like it
Yeah,
was like
I don't know.
some horror person, but I don't remember.
I don't know.
What have you watched?
Well, of course, I already talked about. We saw The Conjuring Last Rites. We finally finished Twisted Metal. There's only 2 seasons out right now. I'm just gonna jump ahead and say that that's actually my shout out. I did not expect that it was going to be good at all, and then after the first season being pretty good, I was like, there's really no way that they can have a second season be good, and it actually was so good. And I will go a step further and say, like, I absolutely did not expect to tear up and be emotional about a TV show that is based off of like a Demolition Derby
Right.
video game from like decades ago. It's just like done so well. And the way that they develop some of the characters that are like essentially you like it's not like you're getting a shit ton of lore from playing the games. They really like made the characters their own, and the cast is really good. Rosa, obviously, I don't ever remember her real name, but
Stephanie
she's like one of the
Beatrice.
main
Or
characters.
Beatrice,
Yes,
something
yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes. Yeah. She's one of the main characters. The guy who plays the new like Falcon Captain America is one of the main
Oh yeah,
characters.
Anthony Mackie. And then
Yeah,
Samoa
and
Joe is Sweet Tooth. Is that his name?
but Will Arnett does his
Yeah.
voice, which is interesting. The way that like Sweet Tooth is done is so good because you would think that like if you're having somebody acting but like physically acting and then doing the voiceover that it wouldn't connect, but it does. Like they both do such a good job. And then the guy who plays Victor Zsasz from Gotham
Mm-hmm.
plays one of the main guys in season 2, and he, of course, I love him. He's amazing. So I don't know. I just like it's got like a pretty good amount of action, and then like a good amount of like story building episodes or whatever. So I just think it like actually really blew me away because I went in with the lowest bar possible, and I think they did a really good job, especially on like effects and stuff like that. Like it looks really good too. So anyways, and also there's like this really big like nostalgia thing behind it, so the soundtrack to it is just like really insane.
Yeah,
It's like any
I've heard like nothing but good things, but
yeah,
what's it on
it's
Peacock?
yes, I
I think
believe
we still
so.
have Peacock. I can't remember.
We also have been watching The Paper,
Oh yeah, what do
which
you
is
think?
the we still have like 2 episodes. So far, eh.
I saw the
Um,
clip of when the cameras see Oscar for the first time, and he goes
yeah.
running away, and it cuts to the black screen. He's like, Oscar doesn't realize is what he signed on before that they gave us like in perpetuity rights or
Yeah,
whatever. I was like, that's pretty
there
funny.
was no ending. Yeah. He is like not in it a lot. Like he's in it a little bit and he's very funny in it. I just like there's a lot of things that made The Office kind of like, as they say, lightning in a bottle, where everything just kind of like the characters meshed and everything worked. And I feel like there's just a lot of stuff in this show that doesn't work.
Yeah,
Like I don't really like any of the characters. Like that being said, there's been a few times where we've chuckled, but like it doesn't feel like The Office to me. Obviously, like it would be very hard to. But the main character, like the guy who's basically playing like the boss or whatever, is essentially Michael Scott still, but like serious. So like I don't know. We'll see. Like maybe the last couple episodes will be really good, but I feel very very lukewarm on it, unfortunately, which is not
yeah.
surprising. Um, and then I watched this movie called, I think it was on Hulu, and it was called It Feeds, and it stars Ashley Greene, who, as you know, is Alice from Twilight, and also Sean Ashmore, my favorite Ashmore. And it I don't think you specifically would like this, but this was another movie I watched. I just like picked it randomly. and I actually ended up really, really liking it. And it's about like this therapist who is like clairvoyant, so she can like go into people's heads and like confront their trauma essentially. And then this girl comes to them, and basically something gets like attached to her daughter instead or whatever, and they have to like figure it out. I actually just like really liked it, and I thought it kind of had unique stuff in it. So I was surprised by that one. And then that might be it. I'm like literally still working through. I've been so slow working through Secret Service.
Oh yeah. There's a new season
Um,
of Hell's Kitchen, I think, that either just started or is getting ready to start. That's got 50 contestants, one from each state, and I'm like, I might watch
oh
that.
my
But
God.
I like
um,
we canceled like Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, maybe something else, and so I was like, I don't know. I got to figure out when Secret Service drops on Tubi for me to watch it now.
it's like pretty far behind because we didn't have Hulu for a while, and I remember I was like watching it on Tubi. We unfortunately like we only like I really like Hulu. Like I always find stuff to watch on it, and obviously I there's stuff on it like King of the Hill that I rewatch. But we can't like we stopped being able to get access because they cut password sharing or whatever, and then we re-upped to watch the new season of King of the Hill, which I still think now that I've had some space from it, I still think it's good. I think like it still has charm from the original show in it, but obviously it's new. And so like I would recommend it. I still liked it. And so I started to like resume the watch through of King of the Hill that I was doing before, and I was going to like include the last season with it. But then we just got a thing saying that they're raising the price again, so we're going to just cancel it
Yeah,
again.
they're
Like
all like they're everything is just like we're raising prices, and it's like, come on.
it's like already an arm and a leg to watch it with ads. I'm like, so of course, when I saw that the thing come up saying that they're going to raise the price, I was like, God, Chris is definitely going to cancel it now. And then he walked in and was like, I just got the email, and I was like, damn it.
I think
So I'll
I hit a point where like I don't know. I would be fine with getting rid of almost everything we're subscribed to, and like I am fine with just I could watch Tubi or whatever I own physically, and then like literally
yeah
like the stuff I pay for that I get like the most value from is like podcast Patreon shit that I pay for, or like
yeah
honestly I've straight up told Caitlin, I was like, if at any point we're just like, fuck it, let's get rid of everything, I would keep Dropout TV and that's it. Like, it's, I can't tell you how fucking much joy I've gotten from just watching those stupid shows on there. Because, like, almost all of them
yeah
are basically just, like, game shows sort of thing. Or, like, you know, there's one show called, like, Dirty Laundry that's set up like a talk show, but it's essentially like, they'll be like, who accidentally got their English teacher fired, and then they have like the four of them have to try to guess who it is, while like whoever it was has to
oh my
like
God
try to like divert from them or whatever. Well, so it's still kind of like a game show, but almost kind of comes off like a talk show a little bit. But
sure
like, I just like I don't know. I'm tired of like every fucking thing having to be paid for and having. I'm like, well, I'll watch three things on here, I guess.
yeah I'm still like debating whether I want to try and like binge the Alien show, or like if I care I might just like go through my watch list and try and watch some of the movies, but
Yeah,
it is what it
I
is.
like for Alien Earth, I was just like, I don't know. I know it'll come to Blu-ray, and I will buy whatever Alien stuff comes out. So like, I'll
Yeah.
just buy it
Yeah.
and I'll watch it then. Was that it for what you watched? All
Yes.
right, I watched Vice Academy 1 through 6, which is
Sure.
pretty good. Caitlin hated it. Uh, I watched the Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD. Uh, Vinegar Syndrome's been putting out like Troba stuff on Blu-ray, and that was one of them. And that movie holds up. It's still real stupid, but it rocks. And then pretty much the only other stuff I watched was like I'm just out of town for 4 days. Yesterday, while I was like alphabetizing my fucking Blu-rays that got all fucked up and like scanning them into this app for in case my house gets blown away in a hurricane. I just like put on Tubi and just kind of let it like play through movies. And so I watched What Have They Done to Your Daughters is what I started with, which is like a giallo basically. And it was pretty good. And then I went into My Name is Bruce, the movie where Bruce Campbell plays himself and has to go fight some weird samurai demon. And it's pretty good. That's a contender for this podcast. That's pretty fun and like real stupid.
Okay.
And then I went into a movie from 1977 called Snow Beast that kind of like I think supposed to be a Bigfoot movie, but I don't remember ever seeing Bigfoot in it. And it was I don't know, it was fine. I could have just missed it while I was like doing stuff with my movies, but
yeah,
whatever.
I think probably you need more Bigfoot in your movie if somebody doesn't see it at all.
And I think that's it.
Well, then obviously most of what I watched was for a bonus episode we're about to talk about. So,
all right, what do you want to shout out?
It was Twisted Metal.
Oh, that's right.
Probably go ahead and play the games too.
God, I used to love that first one.
I had it like, back when they would do like demo discs in magazines or whatever, and I would just like play the demo over and over again.
My best friend in like junior high had it, and I would just go to his house all the time and just sit there and play it like fucking hours. That and then like Tony Hawk, when the first Tony Hawk came out, I would just like, I remember specifically going to like a party in like 9th grade or whatever year it was that came out, and just sitting in the person's room, essentially almost beating Tony Hawk in like 6 hours. Just all I did, and just didn't even fucking hang out with anybody.
Seems fine to me.
I think there was a cat there too, and I just hung out with the cat, played Tony Hawk. Which
hell yeah,
party
that's my kind of party.
I'm gonna shout out the band Stress Positions, who I saw at Dark Days Bright Nights Fest over the weekend, and they were fucking incredible. I'd never heard them before. Like I went through and kind of like skimmed all the bands that were playing just to like see kind of like what they kind of sound most of the bands would have. And they were just, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It's like grindy hardcore band. I don't know. They were so fucking good. Like, just fucking blew both me and Caitlin away. Turns out, Richmond, pretty cool city.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how, like, vegan friendly it is.
Yeah.
Those Sugar Shack donuts, oh my god.
It's pretty much the only place I've lived where, like, a majority of the places that we went, like, a lot of cities have, obviously, like, places that have, like, vegan and vegetarian options, but I think that Richmond's the only place I've lived that had, like, that has, like, multiple strictly vegetarian, vegan restaurants. And they're, well, obviously, it's been a long time since I've lived there, but at the time, they were all amazing. And, like, obviously, I do miss living in Richmond, but
everywhere we went was really good. We ended up going back we went to Gold Lion Community Cafe, I think it was called, twice, because it was, like, Kayla was, like, obsessed with it. And then, on the way home, we got a dozen donuts, and they were gone by, like, the next morning. I got like 4 on the drive home. We went to Tiny Vegan in Carytown, and that was pretty good. Guar Bar, we went after one of the shows. That was mostly just to, like, go, but we just got, like, fries and some, like, cauliflower wings. And, it was good for, 2 a.m. bar food. Oh, Cobra Cabana. That place was so fucking good. Their fucking Beyond Burger or whatever it was, and then their mac and cheese was, like, insane.
I never ate there. I don't even think, like, they had like a full menu when I lived there because it had just opened, and so like I went there to drink a few times, but I don't think I ever ate.
We almost went because like the first night, Dazzling Killmen were like the one band I very specifically wanted to go see, and then they like announced at that set that they were going to do like a quote unquote secret show at Cobra Cabana at like noon the next day, and I was like,
Oh,
oh,
that's
I don't
cool.
know if I want to go like to a show at noon and have that end around the time the other shows starting, and then just like be at
Yeah.
these two shows all fucking day. So we skipped on it, but man, if I would have known that food was so good, we probably would have went.
Yeah,
All right.
which was cool.
I don't. We have tentative movies picked for the rest of the month, but I start a new job the day this episode comes out, so I don't know what my schedule is going to look like. We're gonna figure it out. But we're gonna do movies that take place on Halloween for the month. Hopefully, well, I know two of them I have seen, I think. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of this list. I know specifically the one that Kit was excited about is good. We'll see if you think it's good, but Kit and I think it's good.
Yeah.
What were the other ones? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, two of them I think are good. One of them is one I bought physically to support TerraVision that I was just like, I don't know if this is going to be for me, but we're going to see. So one of those will be next week. We'll figure it out. All right. If you'd like to support us, join our Patreon at patreon.com/IPSufferPodcast. I don't know. Sometime, like, a little bit after, like, sometime the week this episode drops, there will be a bonus episode of Katie and I talking about a kids horror anthology show from New Zealand called Freaky. Because
I still have the theme song stuck in my
I
head.
would have been fine doing Are You Afraid of the Dark again. I was not doing Goosebumps again. And then I stumbled across.
Oh, yeah.
Did I send you the video of the fucking weird
Yeah.
malignant thing? And I was like, we have to watch this.
It might have been a screenshot, but yeah, you did.
Whatever it was, I was like, this is a nightmare. We have to watch this. So we're gonna talk about that. You can watch all of it on YouTube. There's like, if you just look up like Freaky full series or some shit, there's like a playlist that has all 13 episodes. At some point we're gonna have an episode on Batman Full Moon, and at least hopefully one other regular episode. As I said, with my new job, we're gonna have to figure out schedule shit. All right, if you would like to buy some merch, we got a Redbubble store with our new Amityville skateboarding, the house on a skateboard shirt with flies for arms.
You
Yeah.
know how we do.
Yeah, I think this is. I don't know. Look up IB Summer Podcast on Redbubble. You'll find it. You can leave us a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify. You can follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery and Kitchification of Blood. You can follow Katie at WerewolfFace. Join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. You can listen to my other podcast, NK Movie Club. Alright, I hope you are a father, Dad, but why?
Oh no.